Welcome to the Introverted Influencer Podcast. I'm your host, Erica Van Slyke. My soul's mission on this planet is to help fellow introverts grow their online influence in a state of feminine flow and ease. While battling the woes of depression, anxiety, and even mom guilt, I've somehow managed to build a six-figure blog without the use of social media and without sacrificing my mental health. If I can do it, you can fucking too. Welcome back to episode 22 of the Introverted Influencer Podcast. I am so happy you are here with me today. So, a few episodes back, I mentioned that I have been going through a really wonky time in my life and have had some crazy things thrown at me in a time where I can ultimately say that I am up-leveling in my life. I've jumped off some cliffs and gotten out of my safety zone in a lot of very significant ways. But then as soon as I have taken these big leaps of faith, it's almost like I am being punished by the universe with what I would consider like everything seemingly going to shit, which in all the years that I've been studying energetics, I know that's not truly the case. And I actually explain what's really going on in these types of scenarios back in episode 18 titled When Everything Goes to Shit, which I will link in the show notes in case you haven't checked that one out. But in some ways, all of the chaos and misfortune I know is a combination of a few things at play. So there's definitely some lingering self-sabotage going on, which I've struggled with this for years, and I thought I had it all worked out, but I can see traces of that have reared its ugly head. I also understand that this is my primitive ego trying to just keep me safe and small and in a very predictable ho-hum existence. And I also understand that this is like the universe kind of saying, okay, you want this bigger life? You want to play on a bigger level? Well, see if your nervous system can handle all this, sister. And ultimately, the goal is to stay in my center and in my worth and not let it all have me frazzled and get me down and just continue to move forward and go for the big things that I want out of life, right? So I vowed to myself to just keep pushing through to the next big thing and check another goal off of my list, which is to start a new business venture. And I vaguely alluded to this in a previous episode. But here's the thing. To make this next venture happen, I know I'm going to need the mental and energetic capacity to channel a level of myself and of my focus like never before. And not only that, I want all of it to flow from this super high vibe, heart-centered space, not from a place of desperation, frustration, or just brute force. But there's still the like old school hustle, self-helpery voice in my head that's like, no, you got to keep pushing through this. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter that your hair is falling out in clumps and your hormones are out of whack and you're not sleeping. Like, just keep pushing through. And so after a week or two of just meditating and praying on all of this very heavily, because I was just feeling like so conflicted and even frozen on what my next step was. I got the download from God, source, my higher self, that I need to get my mind and my energy right before I move forward with this new venture. So I determined that my divine mission right now is not to push forward with this new venture. I have to kind of like surrender and almost have to form some energetic boundaries between kind of what I feel like I should be doing versus what my soul and my physical body is telling me I have to do, which is recharge and find my center, and in all honesty, just find some freaking normalcy and routine and balance in my life again. And then go for it from that higher vibrational state, but not until I have self-regulated. And what's really cool, when I made peace with this, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to surrender. I'm going to rest. I'm going to be kind to myself. It was so cool because the very next morning, after I journaled all of this out, I was listening to a podcast with a psychologist who basically links the neuroscience behind the art of manifestation and energetics. And her name is Dr. Tara Swart, for any of you interested. But she was discussing the importance of self-awareness when trying to go for really big things in life, like when you're trying to upgrade your life in a very significant way. And I found it really reassuring that she basically said in this episode, it's not always a good idea to push yourself through and put like such a tax on your nervous system by kind of ignoring other factors. Like, what old school hustle mentality would have us do. And basically, whether it be hormonal, situational, like you've got a lot of disruptions in your life, or lack of sleep, or, improper nutrition, so on. Basically, there will be times of lower motivation in life, lower energy, and that's just being human. And it's not always the best idea to try to jump off cliffs during these times. And in reality, these are actually the times when the most aligned action we can take is actually to enforce some energetic boundaries so that we can retreat if need be and recharge. But on the other hand, like just as there are times of lower energy and lower motivation, there are times when we feel like we're on fire and we can just take on the world. And that is when it's more ideal to charge through and do the really big, scary things. And personally, I would even add to this that this is a lot about how the art of feminine flow works. And the last episode 21, was all about the biological side of feminine ebbs and flows. So if you haven't listened to that, check it out. But this is kind of linked to that as well. So all of that being said, in order to remain in flow and in alignment, it is crucial that we become self-aware of our own unique patterning and honor the rhythms of not only our bodies, but our minds. And when I look back on my own patterning throughout my life, I can say without a doubt that I have never accomplished anything great or worthwhile, really, from a place of desperation, exhaustion, or even from this like place of should. Maybe I can get there, but ultimately I burn out and I can't not maintain. So I can say that any sustainable or fulfilling accomplishment I have achieved has started with I want to do this so bad, no one can stop me type of energy. And so when I finally do go for it, it doesn't feel hard or forced or tedious. It doesn't really require much willpower because I really want to do it and it just flows out of me and I lose all sense of time. And I don't know about you, but that is the type of paradigm I prefer to operate from. And if you aren't used to reading your own patterning and energetics, I would suggest you just take some quiet time to yourself. I would even recommend like a journal and just think back to all the really fun, fulfilling wins, sustainable especially, that's a key word, sustainable wins in your life when it just seemed like you couldn't be stopped. How were you acting? What were you saying? Were you in frustration, desperation, overwhelm? Or were you laid back, enjoying the process, having fun, and really detached to a certain degree because you're okay with the process? It's lighthearted. It's flowing. I bet if you look back on those moments, I highly doubt you were in a brute force type of place. And if you are in a flow phase of your life, or even a place where you are like antsy from just being complacent for too long, then I say step through your fear and do the damn thing. But if you're in the same boat as I am right now and life is throwing you a bunch of chaos, or you know physically or mentally that you just don't have the capacity for anything else to come along and like wreck your nervous system, honor that and be kind to yourself. Remember that rest is seriously, it's equally as important as action, like the yin and the yang. And also, we have got to, God, as a society, it's like we've kind of just lost touch with what success really is. To me, it's more of a vibe. And so success is not just about achievements and physical manifestations coming through. Success is also knowing when to take your foot off the gas long enough to not give yourself a mental fucking breakdown. So that is all I have for you today. I hope you found it helpful. I know it's interesting because it's not just me that this is happening to. A lot of my friends are going through some similar crazy stuff lately. So if you're in the same boat, just know that you aren't alone. and this too shall pass. So rest and recharge if you need to. I mean, sometimes all you can do is just throw your hands up in the air and laugh. Also, it would mean the world to me if you could spread the love and the hope by sharing this episode with someone you think it could help, leaving a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you use, or by screenshotting this episode, uploading it to your Insta stories, and tagging me in it at Designing Vibes. Thank you for helping me out and spreading the word, and I'm sending you my love.